Tim Petrowich for Dateline Marion, and we're here this week again with Marion head football coach Kerry Martin. The Wildcats coming off just their second defeat of the season, 37-20 at the hands of the Althoff Crusaders. And Coach, I think the first thing, of course, the argument is there are not moral victories. I think the one thing we take out of this game is that it was a little bit closer than the 37-20 score.
It was. It's I'm not a moral victory guy, but I think 2019, and we've got the lead. The biggest problem, I think, for us was we had possessions with a 2019 lead and didn't do anything with them. And I give a lot of credit to their defense. I thought their defense played its best in the last half of the third quarter and then the fourth quarter, the best they had played all night. Things that were there in previous possessions weren't there in that third and fourth quarter. In hindsight, we could have tried some different things, but the things that we were trying to do were things that had worked earlier in the game. So, we didn't have any idea that all of a sudden they would get shut down. Their pass rush improved greatly in the second part of the second half, and their run defense against our tight offense, which had been going pretty well, especially in the opening drive of the third quarter, just didn't go anywhere.
And that was one of the things I was going to mention. You had some relative success moving the ball in the tight offense, and they were able to take that away.
They were, and it's not something we like to sit in the whole game, but we like for a series here and a series there. And but boy, that opening drive of the third quarter was really good, and we made some good runs, and we felt like we were in really good shape, and we just didn't get much yardage after that, and at times kind of felt like we were going backward. The pass protection against their rush struggled a little bit, and it's just a really good performance by their defense. And I think that we just stopped making plays after that touchdown offensively. We needed a catch, we needed a throw, we needed a run, we needed a block, and we just didn't get it.
And then football, a game of inches. You've heard it several times, and probably 6 inches one way or the other on that pass by Isaac Baker, and they don't get the pick six, and that just changed the whole momentum of the game.
Yeah, it did. It was a big momentum change, and of course, I'm not one to say games come down to one play, but that play was certainly a momentum changer. We had opportunities after that and failed, and we had opportunities before that pass and it failed. So it was frustrating. Play calling was frustrating because, as I said, in ball games you develop at least what's working, what's not. Lean more on this, work, and just it was inconsistent series by series. Things that worked one series didn't work the next, and that's a pass play we've used a lot. We've been pretty effective with it. We also run a tag off of that, which is an out and up, and we were trying to set that up, and we ran the out, and he jumped it, and if we call the tag and run the out and up, we probably score 6. But he guessed right, and good football teams tend to do that more than bad football teams, and it was a great pick, great anticipation, and sometimes you got to give credit where credit's due.
A lot of hype about this game and about Althoff coming in. Is Althoff the best team you played this year?
It's a great question. I think in certain spots they are, but they're a very different team than Champaign Central. With Champaign Central was more of a run it right at you kind of team. I would say defensively, I thought this was the best defense we played against. Personally, I thought they were. So they're very different, contrasting styles, the two teams, but Central and Althoff are very similar, I think, in the way they played against us, and I feel like both teams are very good. It would be a great ball game to watch those two play.
Specifically, I wanted to mention a couple different players that I thought had some really good games on Friday night. First of all, Seth Bayer. Had a touchdown catch, but he had a couple of other nice catches, a diving catch to keep a drive alive. And on that same drive, a ball that was underthrown because of the wind, and he made the adjustment and got positioned on the defensive player and was able to make another nice catch. And then also a couple of fumble recoveries too.
Yeah, he had a great night. He's been that way all year for us, both sides of the ball. One of our few two-way players, and really maybe our only true two-way player that's really a starter on both sides of the ball, and Adolph Paulson and Kyle Hughes have done some of that, but it's a big deal. It's a lot of snaps for a high school kid in a 5A football game, but man, he's really become a great football player.
The other one it seems like we talk about him week to week, and again he's only a sophomore, but there were some times when I thought Jaden Lacey should have lost yards, or one catch he made with the guy hanging on his back, and not only did he make the catch, he turned it into a big gain. Just a couple of outstanding plays, and he's just so hard to tackle.
Yeah, well, he's strong. You know, he's a very dedicated kid in the weight room, and for a sophomore high school football player, especially a wide receiver position, he is very strong, and it shows. I mean, he can. He's not an easy guy to tackle. He's got good speed, and he continues every single week to be a playmaker, and he's getting more and more snaps every week.
Now, this question's been asked of me. How is he related to the former Wildcat great Steve Lacey?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I understand they're related, is what I've heard. I've never asked Jaden that, but that's a pretty good football name in Marion, I'll tell you that.
You change gears Friday night. You play a team that has also scored a lot of points, but Centralia, we always find that there's just one player who just goes off almost all the time, and I think this year it's Javon Williams, their quarterback, similar to quarterbacks they've had in the past, can throw the ball, can run the ball, and is dangerous anywhere on the field.
Yeah, he's just a sophomore. He's a great football player.
Wow.
He is 6 foot, 225, sophomore in high school. He's talented. They have a running back that's outstanding. They've got some good receivers. They're 5-1 for a reason. Well coached, and it's a really good football team. One of the better teams I think they've had in a while. I like them. They're good.
Now, this is another game, kind of like the Althoff game, where this series has had some really strange games in it, and
Absolutely.
I would think nothing would change this week.
Yeah, we've had. This is the game that has the inclement weather every time we play there. We've had torrential rain 2 or 3 years in a row there.
We've had one here too.
Yeah, and we've had a 21-0 lead by Centralia one year, and we came back and won that game. We've had. I mean, it's just there's all kinds of stuff that goes on. I mean, we've had some wild football games, and I think if you're a fan, this would be a game you want to see because it ought to be an exciting game.
A lot of motivation in this game for your team. It's senior night, it's homecoming, all wrapped up into one. So a lot of things going on. What are you doing to keep the kids focused and keep them from being distracted by the extracurricular events?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, you worry about all of that. You worry about homecoming, pep assemblies, and powder puff games, and all the stuff that goes into homecoming, the parade. But the great thing about this game is you don't have to worry about motivation. You know the kids are going to be motivated to play. For our seniors, it's their last home game for sure. And it's the only guaranteed home game they've got left. So it's a night that we can honor our senior class, and they want to win homecoming. They want to go out a winner at this field, and they've got a great track record here. And so I guess the main thing is just you really can't fight homecoming, nor do I want to fight homecoming. You have to kind of embrace it, but make sure we embrace it and remain focused. And the kids have, so far, they came out to practice this week, and they seem focused and ready. We'll continue to check that during the week, but we have a schedule for things. We've done it this way for many, many years. These young men only know homecoming a certain way. I love the way that the school schedules it, so I think they'll be okay. I think this ball game will come down to who plays the best on Friday, and not homecoming and senior, that kind of stuff.
I'm getting these out of order. I want to go back on the Centralia thing for just a minute. You talked about how good this team is. You look at their schedule, and they've only played one team so far with a winning record. There's only 2 teams on their schedule with a winning record, and you're the second one coming up this week. So I think your opinion or what you said was that really doesn't matter considering how much talent they have on this team.
Well, that's I try to look at their side of the ball, and what I see is regardless of the team's records they're playing, I think they're a good football team. I think they're well coached, they're skilled kids, they're talented, they're catching the ball, they can run, you can tell they're fast. I mean, defensively they got some impressive kids on defense. I feel like we're going to face a very good football team, irregardless of the record of what we see. I think, there's a reason why they're 5-1. I wish the reason alone was they haven't played anybody. I think the biggest reason is they're a good football team.
I think the one problem they had in the Althoff game, when Althoff beat them pretty handily and jumped out to a big lead early, was they had some turnovers. And you had some turnovers against Althoff. So they're a team that can do that. Is that something that you're kind of looking forward to, maybe trying to force some of those turnovers or see what happens?
Always. We're always trying to get turnovers. We think it's a big part of the game. And, I think Althoff creates that when you fall behind and you're trying to catch up. You take some risks that maybe you wouldn't normally take. I think Centralia did that a little bit, and we did too. Like I said, they've got a young quarterback who's leading a really good offense right now with some other skilled kids around him. It's not just him. They've got some good skilled kids around him, and Coach Calling will have them ready.
Your defense has played pretty well the last couple of weeks. Another big test for them this week, though.
Yeah, this offense of Centralia will test them, and just like Althoff's did, and just like Mount Vernon's power football and Cahokia's scrambling quarterback, and we've been tested every week, Petro. It's week in and week out. It's been a challenge. This is the 7th week in a row we're facing what I believe is a good football team, and there have been no letdowns, no weeks off. I mean, it's what you got to do, and so I think our defense will be challenged, but I'm confident they continue to play better and better every week, and so they keep getting better. We got a really good chance.
What do you got to do Friday night?
Well, first of all, we got to get back on track. We got to have some success early. We got to make sure we don't deviate too far from where we've been. We've lost 2 football games to a 5-1 and a 6-0 team. So there's no reason to push the panic button and retool everything. I mean, we need to get better at what we do, and we're going to stick to our game plan. And we've got some wrinkles for Centralia. We're excited to put those in and do them, but we're going to stick to what we do and better execution. Our goal is to play 4 quarters in all 3 phases of football. We do that, we ought to finish the season strong.
What's the health status of Kyle Hughes? I know he got banged up against Mount Vernon a little bit.
Well, he continues to get better every day, and again, it's one of those things. We'll restrict his practice a little bit until we can get him ready for game time. He healed really well last week until the game, and he re-injured a little bit again. But I'm afraid it's one of those things. He's going to play the rest of the season with a little frustration dealing with that. But he should be okay.
Help the rest of the team?
Yeah, we should be okay. I think this is one of the healthiest we've been. We'll get Damian Buchanan back on the offensive line, and that's a nice boost and a good piece of depth there with a big guy that, it's hard to coach someone up to be 6'5", 345. So be good to have Damian back. He's coming off a great game last time he played against Cahokia, so we're anxious to get him back. All
right, that's Kerry Martin. Friday night, homecoming, senior night. The Centralia Orphans in town. Should be a great football game. Kickoff's at 7, right?
7 o'clock.
All right. For Coach Kerry Martin of the Marion Wildcats, I'm Tim Petrowich for Dateline Marion.